Welcome to the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast. I am your host, Shannon Whaley, and I'm here to help coaches, consultants, and service providers like you build profitable, sustainable online businesses without the hustle or the burnout that's so prevalent in the online space. I am here to show you that there is a totally different way to do business that doesn't leave you burnt the fuck out and hating your life. It's time to ditch the hustle culture and embrace a new way of doing business. So get ready to redefine success on your terms and build a thriving anti-hustle based business where you have more money, more naps, more travel, more freedom, more whatever the fuck you want in your life. So buckle up and let's dive in. Every single time I've been too scared to take the leap, the universe has always been like, hold my beer. So when I was too scared to quit my job, I got fired. When I was scared to leave a relationship, I found out they were cheating. That's happened multiple times. When I was scared to change careers, I was trying to decide between being a coach and yoga teacher training. I slipped and fell and shattered my wrist and had no choice but to pivot. The decision was made for me. And that has been the pattern of my life. When I play small, the universe kicks me out of the nest hard, like slap in the face, kick in the ass, shove me, whatever it has to do to move me in the direction that I'm supposed to be going in. And honestly, that's what has happened with my business too. And what might be happening with your business. You can't outsmart alignment. You can't logic your way out of your calling. And you have to pay attention to the nudges and the not so quiet nudges. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, this whole season is going to be so much more storytelling and just sharing what I've gone through over the last 20 some odd years, and then seeing if I can tie this into business. But really, I want to just spend more time just sharing my story and putting things out there, getting back to my roots, because this is also the nudge that I've been feeling and that I feel like I've been brought back to and catapulted into. And so this is me just living what I'm talking about and walking my talk, if you will. So I got married when I was 21. I just graduated from college. I moved up to Seattle in the same weekend and then started my new life as a wife. We had the house. It was a $220,000 home that we had absolutely no business owning. The dogs, the cats, the checklist. I had all of the things. Everything I was told I should want, I had. And instead of feeling fulfilled, instead of feeling like this is the beginning of the rest of my life, I felt fucking trapped. I felt like I was suffocating, like suffocatingly trapped. And I felt like I was so far in over my head and I had no idea how to get out of this life that I had set myself up into. It felt like the walls were like caving in on me. And I could just feel like this doom and this panic. And I tried my hardest. I was like, oh, this is normal. This is natural. I'm just young. I'm feeling these things because I'm making some really big adult decisions. This is just part of the process. And I was basically gaslighting myself out of what I was feeling. We were even looking at sperm donors. I was expected to carry because she was 9 years older than me, and I just remember thinking, "I don't know about this." Thank God it was expensive, and I did finally set a boundary and was like, "I just feel too young to go through with this. I need more time to make this decision." Eventually, when I was 23, it all came crashing down, and imploded violently. So we'd gotten married in Vermont back in 2001, and Vermont was one of the first states to pass marriage equality. So it wasn't actually marriage, it was like civil unions. And the catch, if you ever wanted to end the civil union, then one of you had to live in Vermont for 6 months before you could even file, and then you had to wait another 6 months before it was finalized. And neither of us did that. We both stayed in the Pacific Northwest, and we just stayed married. And so we were legally married until 2015, which is when the Freedom of Marriage Act passed in the US. And so I immediately filed for divorce. And I remember thinking, finally, I can be done with this chapter. And we met up, she signed the papers, it was amicable. We had both moved on in so many different ways, realized that it was for the best. We were both living the lives that we actually wanted to be living. Her life was not anything like I would want my life to look like. And I imagine the life that she has is not the life that I'm living. So it worked out, right? But in the moment, it was dramatic. Like, leaving was dramatic. There was a police escort. All of my shit was in black trash bags. I was homeless. I didn't have anywhere to live. So I was staying with my friend for a while until, I mean, I wasn't like homeless, but I didn't have anywhere to stay. And so I was staying with a friend. That was a whole other story. It was a fucking disaster until I got on my feet and I rented an apartment downtown Seattle. I signed everything over. I didn't want the house. I didn't want the stuff, all the furniture that we bought. I didn't want any of it. I just wanted my freedom. I wanted me back. I wanted to feel like I could fucking breathe again. So I left with one cat and never looked back. That was it. That was genuinely the first time that I learned that freedom often costs you everything that you thought you wanted. But in return, you get your peace, your self-trust, your autonomy, you get your freedom, and it's worth it. And there's the saying, right? If your new life that you want is going to cost you your old life. And that's also what kept me stuck for so many years in different relationships, because you get comfortable. I would look around and be like, am I ready yet? I know that this relationship's dead. I know that this isn't working. I do not see a future with this person. And also, can I fucking afford to get out of this lease? Can I afford to move? What's that going to look like? What is it going to look like with the animals? We're likely never going to speak again. That's just how my relationships have ended. And the life as I know it is going to be over. And that was so scary on so many levels. And one of the things that I have always settled into, like, eventually you do this enough times that you recognize your patterns and you build the strength, and there's more of a knowing, right? So eventually, what I would tell myself when I was in that indecision was that you'll know. You'll know when you're ready. You're in indecision right now. This is the liminal space, and you'll know. There have been many times, though, that I have asked the universe and been like, look, I'm a dumb bitch. I need you to slap me across the face and make it so fucking clear. I do not do subtle. I do not do little hints. Like, and this is me playing with the universe. I always get exactly what I ask for in this sense, because anytime things have ended, or it has not been subtle. It has not been like both of us are like, this really isn't working. Oh, I agree. Okay, let's part ways. It's been in just explosions, implosions, fucking dramatic. And so, but that's what I need, because and maybe I'm getting better at this. I'm trying to think. It's been 3 years since I left my second marriage, and so I feel like I'm maybe getting better finally, where I'm seeing red flags or I'm seeing things that aren't working. I have such higher self-esteem. I have more boundaries. I recognize red flags sooner. I have a really fucking great life, so I don't want to disturb that. I have my own place to live. I have my own friends, and I have things that I do. So I really am in the place that if you're not adding, if you're stressing me out, then I'm going to take notice and be like, I'm not available for this anymore. Now it still takes me a little bit, but I brag that it takes me 4 months to see it instead of 4 years. So I would call that a huge fucking win. Now my goal is to catch it in like 4 weeks or 4 dates, and just clock shit so much faster and be ready to bail faster, because I see the flags. I just start to kind of collect them still, and then I'm like, hold on. Those are my brags, and that's also just what I've been working on over the last 3 years as part of my own healing and part of my own recovery. Want to break free from the hustle and grind and build a successful business? I've helped thousands of clients and students leave their 9-to-5 jobs, travel the world, land their first clients, close 5-figure sales in the DMs, and grow their businesses to 6 and 7 figures. Want to know more? Visit antihustlebiz.com and transform your life and business the anti-hustle way. Okay, back to the show. So I was 23. It was 2003. That's when I left my ex-wife. And then a few years later, I found myself back in the same energy, leaving another relationship, and then another relationship. Usually my relationships are about 2.5 years. My last relationship with my ex-husband was 5 years. My longest relationship is actually with my cats. So that's what's going on over here. So a few years later, I found myself back in this same kind of energy. So playing by the rules, doing all the things. It was my late 20s. Now I was a hairstylist and working at a nightclub in Seattle. I applied to and got a position at one of the top salons in Seattle back in, 2006, 2007, I think. And I trained for over a year to get on the floor. I think it was actually longer than that. I had failed my first test. It was fucking brutal. I was working 6 to 7 days a week and doing all the things, and I got promoted as a stylist, and I looked around and I was like, this is it. This was the dream. This was what I've been fucking working towards. It was awful. I wasn't making the money that I wanted to be making. The stylists were fucking miserable, like just miserable assholes. Like so many of the people that I worked with were just fucking dickheads. And it was the energy of the salon. Multiple people got cancer there. There was like, they ended up fucking over all of their stylists and closing one day. Everyone went to work one day and it was closed. And so that just gives you an idea of what was happening and just like the toxicity. And I got in there and I was like, I fucking did it again. I had this dream and I followed what I thought I wanted. It looked nice. It looked shiny. It was reputable. I wanted the status. Like I wanted people to know that I worked at that salon because of how fucking fancy it was. And then I was about to put my 2 weeks notice in, and I was really nervous, and then I got fucking fired. They locked me out of the salon. I was not allowed to get my stuff, and it was dramatic. It was so dramatic. They told all my clients that I had moved to LA to do stand-up comedy when I was actually working under the table at a salon a couple blocks away, but people didn't know where I'd gone, and people unfriended me from the salon. So this is like very cult toxic behavior. And then the shit that they were telling the other stylists created kind of a smear campaign. So also, that's what we know that narcissists do, and where they change the truth, they lie, and then they have flying monkeys, and they create smear campaigns, right, to get everybody on their side. So that shows up. I've done that in coaching, coach training programs that I've been involved in, multiple. That has happened with exes, that has happened in jobs. So this has shown up in my life in so many different ways. And that became a pattern where I'd follow the rules, I'd check all the boxes, and then the universe would fucking blow it all up every single time that I built a life that didn't fit, that didn't feel good, that I was not feeling respected, or I was feeling panicked or trapped, and it would collapse dramatically. None of this has been, like I said, like all of it happened very dramatically. And also, leaving those relationships, leaving that marriage was the best thing I've ever done. Getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me because it pushed me, whether I wanted to or not. I had multiple nervous breakdowns. One included me going to Fairfax Hospital, which is a psychiatric unit, for a week. It was one of the best vacations I've ever had because you don't have to make any decisions. They tell you when to wake up. They tell you what you're eating. They tell you what therapy classes to go to. They tell you what time bed is. Like the mental, like the not having to make decisions for yourself, it was beautiful. It was great. Very traumatizing, was a huge wake up call about my mental health and that I needed to change because I was not happy. Want to break free from the hustle and grind and build a successful business? I've helped thousands of clients and students leave their 9-to-5 jobs, travel the world, land their first clients, close 5-figure sales in the DMs, and grow their businesses to 6 and 7 figures. Want to know more? Visit antihustlebiz.com and transform your life and business the anti-hustle way. Okay, back to the show. If you take anything away today, it's that if you do not listen to the nudges, the universe will be like, hold up, I'll fucking take care of this for you. And that is what I have seen time and time in my own life. So for so many years too, I thought, why is this happening to me? Oh, poor me. Like I can't catch a break. And then I think it was in 2015 when I got into the coaching arena, the concept of switching that from why is this happening to me to why is this happening for me? What am I supposed to learn here? It's so easy to fall into victim mentality when life is just lifing and coming at you. Have your fucking tantrum, be a victim, feel sorry for yourself, and then shift into what am I supposed to learn from this? What is available for me here? Why is this happening for me? What is the redirection that's available here? Because the universe isn't punishing you, even though it feels like that's what's happening. The universe is redirecting you. And so I had to hold on to that for dear life. And then that's when I started to take ownership, to stop waiting for permission, to stop outsourcing my power and asking everyone what I should do and not listening to myself, because that's where the answers are. You have to remember that people are giving you advice based on their own limiting beliefs, their own beliefs about what they think is possible, their own level of bravery, their own level of don't give two shits about whatever. When you can come back to yourself is when you come back to source. I talked about this in last episode of using your future self as your North Star, as your higher power. So, really deeply connecting to that next level you, 10 years out, 20 years out. How would they handle this situation? What would they have learned? And there's visioning exercises that you can do with this. This is something that I've walked my clients through. You can also do parts work around this. So that's another practice that's really helpful. You can do that in your journaling. Parts work is really meant to be done with a practitioner or a coach or someone, because of how powerful it is, and to be held and to walk you through that process. That's an option if we are working together, of looking at parts work. But using that version of you to handle what is happening to you currently. And that's what business is too, right? So we are conditioned to follow the rules. So niche down, show up this way, post 5 times a day, scale your business, do it this way, right? Like hustle, all of the things. And then I say this over and over again, the problem with hustling is that it works, but at what cost? And then one day you wake up and you realize that you've built another cage. You've put yourself into another cage. Just like my marriages, just like the jobs. So where are you doing this, or have you done it, currently doing it in your own life and in your own business? Because freedom in business also comes when you stop trying to do it the right way and you start doing it your way. What do you want to put out? One of the things that I always walk my clients through when we're putting their program together is, yes, you need to understand the market. Yes, you need to understand what people are looking for. And also, you need to be lit up and excited. That's like the most important thing. If you see a gap in your industry and you feel excited and lit up and super fucking pumped, that is the most important thing as we're putting your program together. Because sure, you could do market research and put something together that other people want, and then you hate what you're fucking doing and it makes you money. So then that's gonna even be a bigger problem. Like, oh, this is my biggest money maker, but I fucking hate running this program. You've built another cage. And I have seen this time and time again with coaches who have built larger businesses, multiple 6-figure, 7-figure businesses. They start to have so much overhead. They start to have team. They start to have all these people, and they have to continue running at that level, but they're fucking miserable. And they're like, I've built something I don't even want anymore. That's where I am currently in this messy middle. I built this almost $200,000 business a year, and things started kind of crumbling down. And as I am in this space, I didn't listen to the nudges. Old habits die hard. I am now. So what I've started to do is I've started listening to the nudges, paying attention to the opportunities that are coming to me, saying yes to things that like don't really make sense, but they kind of do, just to see how it goes. So for example, I took the She Recovers coach designation coaching program. So that I finished that and I'm waiting to get that credential. One of the coach training programs that I went through in 2015, actually, my first one, they had an offer 50% off for a domestic violence coaching class that I was like, okay, I'm going to just say yes to this. This is the work that I'm doing right now, which is so interesting, is the work that I was doing when I graduated from college in 2001. I was a drug and alcohol counselor, I was a domestic violence counselor, and I wanted to be doing coaching, but it didn't exist in the form that it exists in today. It was like Tony Robbins and high level, like white collar leadership corporate coaching. So now I feel like I'm really, really coming back to my roots, especially since I added the domestic violence stuff, because I've been talking so much and I've been talking to so many people who have found themselves either currently in or leaving emotionally abusive relationships, financially abusive relationships and situations. And it shows up in so many different ways. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to follow this nudge. So this is one of those moments that things have come crashing down pretty violently in my business, and I'm rebuilding at the moment, and it's frightening. It's fucking scary. My income has taken a huge hit, and I have to do the mindset work, and I've been doing the work that I know how to build a business. I've built a multiple six-figure business before. I can certainly do it again. And also, this feels so much more aligned with the stories, the spaces I want to hold, the vulnerability, getting back to what I really wanted to do back in 2015, which was I want to help women live big, bold, apologetic lives where they are stripping off all of the shoulds, all of the indoctrination, and they're figuring out who the fuck they are. And then they're traveling and leaving the marriages and leaving the relationships and living alone for the first time. I saw this woman in a Facebook group the other day, and she's in her 60s and she's never been on vacation by herself. And I was like, that's who I'm here for. I'm here for those people. I'm here for the women who followed the rules and ended up in a cage. I'm here for the ones who did everything right, did everything that they were told to, followed the blueprint, and they still ended up fucking miserable. For the ones who are daydreaming about the freedom, but also terrified about what they're going to lose and what that means. That's who I'm here for. That's who I want to help, because I was you. I have been there. I have gone through that over and over and over again. I have reinvented myself so many times. I have lived so many lives in my 46 years because I was willing to get uncomfortable. I was willing to burn it all down. I have the luxury of not having children, so that impacts everything, right? I have the privilege of credit cards, an American passport. So I fully recognize that this is so nuanced, and also it doesn't mean that you still don't get to live the life of freedom and the life of peace, like the level of peace that I have now. If that's what you want, I want that for you. That's why I created my business. It just so happened that it took the form of business coaching. We'll see what happens in this messy middle. It's also why I am so passionate about helping people, but women in particular, build businesses so that they are financially independent, that they become financially stable, that they can experience that level of freedom and autonomy Money changes lives. Money changes decisions. It means that you can leave. It means that you have options. It means that you're not stuck. And that's what I'm here for. So I'm figuring out how I can put all of this together. And that's just where I am. We'll see how this goes. So if you're in your messy middle or somewhere along this path, just trust it. Trust that the answers will come. The collapse is sacred. It's scary, but it's sacred. And that you're not being punished, you're being redirected. Why is this happening for me? So I will leave you with that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the messy middle with me. And if you're also in the middle, I see you. If you want support around this, or if anything that I'm talking about is landing for you, please reach out. Let's have a conversation. But I'm happy that you're here and I appreciate you and I'm cheering you on. I will be back next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast. I hope you found inspiration in the message and that you got some actionable next steps that you can implement right away in your business to start seeing results and moving the needle. Remember, you don't have to sacrifice your well-being or your mental health to achieve success. So prioritize your pleasure, play, and rest while you build your business around your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps me reach more entrepreneurs like you who want to do business in a completely new way. For more resources and to connect with my community, please visit my website at antihustlebiz.com and follow me on Instagram at @TheShannonWhaley. Until next time, keep taking those strategic anti-hustle steps toward building the business and life that you love. Take care.